Okay, let's jump right in. We're about to completely flip the script on one of the biggest financial rules you were probably ever taught, that all debt is bad. What if I told you that religiously avoiding debt might actually be the very thing keeping you from getting truly wealthy?
So picture this. On one side of the street, you've got a guy with a brand new, flashy Ferrari. On the other side, you have someone who owns a simple, maybe even kind of boring rental property. Now, who do you think is actually wealthier? Well, the surprising truth is, the Ferrari owner is probably drowning in what we call poor debt, while that property owner is quietly using rich debt to build a real fortune.
And this idea, this mantra that's been drilled into us that all debt is bad, really gets to the heart of the problem. It's an old school piece of advice that just doesn't work anymore. In today's world, that mindset is a trap, and it's keeping you stuck.
So, I want you to start thinking about debt in a totally different way. It's not inherently good and it's not inherently evil. It's just a tool, a really powerful tool, kind of like a chainsaw. In the right hands, a chainsaw can help you build a beautiful house. But if you're careless with it, well, it can create an absolute disaster. It all comes down to who is using it and how.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the good stuff, the wealth-building formula. It's time to discover what rich debt really is.
So here it is, the definition you need to burn into your brain. Rich debt, or good debt, is simply when you use borrowed money to buy something that pays you back more than what the loan is costing you. You're using debt to buy an asset that actually generates income.
And here's the super simple math that makes it all work. See, the wealthy don't fear debt. They just use this formula. As long as your return on investment is greater than the interest rate you're paying on the loan, you are winning the game. It's that simple. For example, let's say you borrow money from the bank at a 5% interest rate. Then you take that money and invest it in a rental property that gives you a 10% return each year. You just made a 5% profit using someone else's money. That right there is the secret. That is how the rich get richer, literally while they sleep.
All right, now we have to flip the coin and talk about the other side, the debt that literally steals your future. So welcome to the Bad Debt Hall of Fame.
And first up, of course, is the most infamous villain of them all, the credit card trap. This is the kind of debt you use to buy things that lose value the second you walk out of the store. Clothes, fancy dinners, the latest gadgets.
And the math on this is just brutal. With average interest rates skyrocketing to 25% or more, you're not just buying that one thing. You're effectively buying one for yourself, and then you're buying another one for the bank in interest. It's a wealth-destroying cycle, plain and simple.
And then there's the newer, sneakier trap. Buy now, pay later. Oh, it feels so harmless, right? It's all broken down into these small, manageable payments. But trust me, these things are incredibly deceptive.
I absolutely love this phrase because it's just so painfully accurate. Each one of those tiny payments is micro-bleeding your financial future. It's this slow, quiet drain on your paycheck that leaves you with absolutely nothing at the end of the month to actually invest and build wealth with.
So, if we know deep down that it's bad for us, why do so many of us fall into these traps over and over again? Well, let's take a look at the psychology that's at play here.
The simple and maybe tough answer is this. We're using bad debt to fund a lifestyle we can't actually afford. We see these perfectly curated lives online, we feel that pressure to keep up, and so we end up borrowing from our future selves just to pay for what we want right now.
All right, enough theory. It's time to make this real and personal for you. Let's do a quick 60-second debt audit so you can see exactly where you stand.
And I mean it. I want you to actually do this, maybe even pause for a second. First, make a list of every single debt you have. Credit cards, car loans, student loans, everything. Then, for each one on that list, ask yourself this one brutally honest question. Is the thing I bought with this loan making me money, or is it just a lifestyle expense? Now let's categorize them. If the debt was used to buy something that generates income, it's a wealth builder. Put it in that column. If it was for something that doesn't, it's a wealth killer. And hey, no judgment here. Just be honest with yourself.
Okay, so you've done the audit. And if you're like most people, you're probably staring at a few things you've labeled wealth killers. So what on earth comes next?
First things first, don't panic. The most important step is the one you just took, facing the reality of your financial situation, because you absolutely cannot fix a problem that you refuse to look at. Just acknowledging it is the first massive step toward taking back control. And this brings us to the final and most important question. Now that you've looked it in the eye, now that you've identified the wealth-killing debts in your life, what's the battle plan to eliminate them for good? Well, we'll cover exactly that in Part 2.